I didn't realize how long I had known Peter. Peter and I go back from the time of World War II. We were both discharged about the same time in the late 40s, and we've known each other and been friends and acquaintances and done a lot of things through the years. Of course, there's one difference. During the war, Peter was a pilot, and I was a staff officer, afraid that bombs might land on me. But it didn't quite do it. Peter is well known probably from the steel case company. His father was one of the founders of steel case, in case you didn't know. His name was also Peter. And Peter himself has been a vice chairman of steel case for some years, but he now gives himself to greater causes above and beyond it. He's a graduate of the University of Michigan. He also holds the honorary Doctor of Law degree from the University of Michigan, as well as from Aquinas College. I could say a great many things about Peter. I was going through some of the things that he's accomplished and he's done, and I got along the list. I got after 20 of them, I couldn't keep on going anymore. And I thought, well, whatever I might say probably will be said by him in some context or another. And rather than me taking up any your time, I can just assure you this, that he's a man who has led the cause of environment throughout the world. He's nationally known here because he's done so much in America, but he's also been abroad in a great many things. And if you see Lake Michigan as a great lake, keep it up, you can blame Peter. He's the man that's keeping us what we are there for the Great Lakes. So but his accomplishments really are legend, and I know he's going to tell you about some of them, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy. Peter, come on.
My introducer, Ralph, is one of the finest personalities that I know. He's a product of the Second World War, and he was a aide to Eisenhower in the European theater. I'm just a young man compared to Ralph. But I'm glad that he invited me out here today. I wrote a few things down because at my age and Ralph's age, you don't remember things as well as you used to. My slogan is, do as much good as you can, for as many people as you can, for as long as you can. Make that your sort of your memo for the rest of your life, and you'll never go wrong. I got into this environmental thing when I was a pilot during the Second World War, and was taking a training plane to West Point. So I had to stop in Pittsburgh to get some gas, and I couldn't find Pittsburgh because it was clouded in by smog and industrial smoke and so forth. So I called in and said, tell me where the airport is, I can't find it. So I said, give me a direction. So they said, fly 10 minutes off this direction. So I did. I said, I still can't see it. So he said, well, it's turn on the lights. So they turned on the lights, and I saw it way down there. So I just dived in and landed. But in those days, the environment was a lot worse than it is today because people didn't think about pollution being a detriment to your health. So I landed the plane in West Point. It was a AT-6, which was a training plane. And then I went over to West Africa with a friend of mine, George Wells, whose father was pro here at Cascade, Maury Wells, and George was a transport of fighter planes from the Northwest. I'm trying to think of the up there to Alaska, and then the Russians would take them on from there to the war front. So we met down there. I asked our commander to see if I could go with George overseas. So we're going to Accra, West Africa. We took off from Florida, and we were going to the next airport. And so we get started down. It was 4:30 in the morning, pretty black. We started down the C-46. That was a transport in those days. It was loaded with cargo and 7 passengers. So we started down the runway, and I was co-pilot. We were going to split the time going over. So I was co-pilot, and then the tail wouldn't rise up. It had to rise up before we take off. So it didn't rise up when we got halfway down the runway. So automatically, without thinking, I just reached over and pulled the throttle back, and we settled down and worked it down to the end of the runway. We got back to where the loading was, and they had put 600 pounds in the tail, which shouldn't have been there. So that was my first experience of saving my life. Then we took off from Jamaica to British Guiana, and we tried to take off in the morning before the clouds really got high, because in those days we couldn't fly over 12,000 feet. And so we got into these buildup of clouds, and we couldn't go any higher, so we had to go through them. So we went through the middle of these rain clouds, and the rain was so intense that it took us down from 12,000 feet to 6,000 feet and almost shut the engines off. So we got through, and the engines came back on. So that's the second time I almost lost it. And then on the trip from Brazil to Ascension Island, which was a tiny little dot between Brazil and North Africa, we had to land there to get gas because you couldn't make it all the way across with a twin-engine plane. So we took off, and the guy, the navigator, was looking out the window and this, that, and the other thing, and he was doing all of what he should be doing. And I said, "Okay, where is it? I don't see it." So I wasn't supposed to put the radio on because of German submarines. So I said, "The hell with that." I turned on the compass, and it pointed that way. So I just dove in, and we landed in that island, that tiny island, with only about 20 minutes gas supply left. So that's 3 things in that one flight that I could have lost it. So I'm happy to be here today. So I wrote some things down here. I'll read it to you because my memory isn't that great anymore. In the business of everyday environment, the Center for Environmental Study, which we founded in 50, and a grant from the Kellogg Foundation. And we ran that, they gave us a 3-year grant, which wasn't much in those days, but it was, it was a lot. We carried it on for 3 years and actually went a 4th year with that grant. So they and the National Sanitation Foundation, which is down in Ann Arbor, and they're the ones that make give the stamp of approval on all kitchen equipment for restaurants and so forth, and National Sanitation Foundation. We managed to get 4 years out of it, and that's how the center started. We worked with all of the local foundations, both public and private, for the education of local schools on the environment, which took public health, clean sewers and drinking water, public disposal of garbage, and the problem of clean air from factories, and it was a problem of education for the general public. And the recycling of waste was a big issue in those days. With the Netherlands now recycles almost 80% of its garbage in the Netherlands. And we should be doing the same thing in this country. And burning the incinerators that don't have to have smoke anymore. You can burn incinerators at about 270 degrees now, where you don't get any ash coming out this. I mean, we got one right here in town. Have anybody seen that one downtown that burns the garbage for power? Anybody? Well, you ought to see it. That's one of the things you should take all the students over there and make it sure that they see it, because the garbage disposal units have to take as much as they can over there, and then they take a day's supply over before they dump it in a landfill. So it's burned for power for all the power in Grand Rapids, a lot of the power. So the little leftover goes in the landfill. Used motor oil is gathered from owners and gas stations and used for power plants and also for road building. Some of the asphalt is used oil mixed with the tar and so forth. And the environment, which is our lifeline, life support system, demands that we have clean air, clean water, and proper disposal of waste, including used oil, tires, and usable parts from factories' production. We now recycle most of these items, but have a lot to go for the information and disposal of all other waste. We must take the example of the Netherlands to recycle as much waste as possible, so we don't have hills of waste growing. Like I don't know whether you've seen the one between here and Holland. There's a huge pile of debris there. So our disposal of waste in Grand Rapids and our local cities that surround us are better than the national city systems, but we have a long way to go to catch up with the Netherlands. Our big steel plants take lots of water from the Great Lakes, but they called me down to National Steel near Chicago. Well, this was about 15 years ago. They wanted me to see their plant. What they did, well, they take water out of the Lake Michigan, and it's dirty. And by the time it goes through the plant in the process of manufacturing, it goes out to the Lake Michigan much cleaner than it was before they take it in. So all these things can be done. And I've been arguing with the local coal plants. We're working on trying to redo the coal plant over in Muskegon, and no, not Muskegon. What's the south of?
Holland.
Huh?
Holland.
Yeah, and so there is a new process that you can burn coal. What you do is grind it up to powder, and then blow it into the system, and you don't see anything coming out the stacks. So it's burned about 98%, and what's left over, the residue now can be taken and buried in the ground. There's a system to do that. So it's just a matter of money. If we'd saved money from going over to the Arabian area, we could have put all that money into the power plants and have clean air today. So we got a lot to learn, and the politicians have a lot to learn. about, and instead of arguing about this and that and the other thing, they should be saying, what can we do to create public health for every citizen in this country? And it can be done. It can be done. The problems are legislation and ego. And so I say, drop your ego and and raise your eco. So our big, okay. In Grand Rapids and the surrounding cities, we instigated a system of picking up all garbage and returning the results to places that can use it for road building and other usable sources. It is not 100%, but they're trying to, as much as possible, to use the example of the Netherlands system. And remember, recycling is one of the most important elements to clean living. I thought we might use this time for questions, and I'm able to answer any question that I'm able to answer. So you can ask me some questions. You know, when you think about it, if we had clean air in all of our manufacturing institutions, manufacturing plants, we would save billions of dollars in health care. This is literally true, because I remember I was working in our plant back in the, let's see, 34, between 38 and 40. And I was working over there in the desk plant, and there was a big Hollander in there, I forget his name now, but we were friends, and I was telling him, now, what do you do to clean up this place? And he said, well, we do it the right way. And there was a system where we put the steel in to clean it off and so forth. And it was a big bubbling tank and so forth. And nobody got sick from it. I don't know what the process is today. I'd tell you what the process is, but you know, there are certain systems around the country that everybody used them, we'd have a clean environment. So I'm saying we can do it. Everybody can do it. You can do it. Cities can do it. This nation can do it, but we have to have the will to do it. So I'd like to ask, you can ask any questions. I'll try to answer them. Yes? Okay.
But now that we have a new aggressive young president, wouldn't it be practical for a president?
I haven't got my ear.
Well, now I say that we have a new president, young, aggressive president. Would it not be practical for him to form some branch of government to oversee nationally that we are doing our environmental job that should be done?
Sure, absolutely.
We don't have such a thing.
Yeah, we don't have it.
I think we should be practical.
We should have it, yeah. Anybody else? Okay.
I'd just be interested to see what you think about this. In your book, you say that going green, there's two benefits. Yeah. First of all, it's good for the environment.
That's right.
That's the main thing. But you say, second of all, it helps the bottom line for businesses. I mean, if you reuse the things that you waste, you save money, so you make more money. Well, I haven't met a businessman that wasn't driven by the bottom line, so why aren't businesses more?
Because they save money. And just a little bit more, maybe 1%, to go into this recycling business, and they have a clean environment for their workers. We have one plant that got the, what is it, the green?
The LEED
certified. We got one plant. The rest of the plants we sold in the last 5 years, but all the ones that we have now are certified LEED certification. I can't remember what it is.
Leadership in Engineering and Environmental Design.
Leadership in engineering
and environmental design.
Okay, design. LEED certification, and everybody can use it if they, and it costs a little bit more to build a home. We're building a model house now out near Lowell, and everything down to nails. We can't do anything with nails. But everything that's going to be in that house is certified. We use the roofing. We're going to have oh dear, what, Alan, Terry, the roof, solar panels. Solar panels, we're going to have a windmill, and we're going to have a water system with go down to 65 feet and gets that water at a certain temperature. I think it's about 65 degrees. We bring that up, and then we only have to go from 65 up to the normal temperature for use in the system. So we're doing that as a model out in Lowell, and when it's finished, we'll let you know. And we're going to have a big room out there, big enough for at least 15 or 20. We're going to try to get all the architects from Grand Rapids out there to see it. So it's absolutely certified. It'll be the greenest house in Grand Rapids when we get through, and we should be through with it within another 2 weeks. So I've got your names and addresses, and we'll send you a little notification. And anything up to date on the environment that comes to us, we always disperse it to the educational system as soon as possible. I have a new book coming out, it's Economicology 2, which I hope will be out by January. And instead of doing everything myself, I take excerpts from the best authors I can find in the environmental area. And why waste your time on trying to do things yourself when you got all these experts? We got people from Princeton and Notre Dame and Southern California and University of Arizona. We got about 22 that we can, and also Northern Michigan University. We use, and then I'm trying to get all the universities of the world together. There's 1,400 universities, international universities, from Russia over to this country, in England and France, Germany and so forth. There's 1,400 universities. Why aren't they all together once a year trying to clean up, teach young people how to live the best way possible in this very, very unstable civilization that we have? But we're working on it. We should be eliminating war. That's ridiculous. There isn't any reason, if we're civilized, that the leaders can't come together and solve their problems over a table. No reason in the world. And just think of how much we'd save on armaments, billions of dollars. And if we wanted to do all of the other things that in the environmental area that I think should be done, we should think about these things, try to get the politicians in Washington to start thinking about this country and about the health of this country and about the needs of the common citizen and the people, and the workers in the factory, the people that really make things go. We have to start thinking about that. And so what I'm trying to invoke in you and the schools and anybody who wants to listen, we got 8 states and 2 provinces of Canada working on the Great Lakes. And we're making some real progress. We got all the governors now signed a proposal to clean up the Great Lakes. And I think that's a really step ahead. We shouldn't be politicking, we should be doing the things that we're supposed to do for all people for the best interests of this country. Thank you.
Thank you. What an enlightening talk, what a refreshing talk, and a timely talk after what just happened yesterday. Perhaps our new president and Congress will be able to work on some of these initiatives in a bipartisan manner with Republicans as well. I want to express our appreciation very much to Mr. Wege for coming to visit with us. I have a tote bag, a Hallenstein Center tote bag for you. All right, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, you need to take this to those 1,400 universities as you're going around. There's some interesting things in here. There is, first of all, to keep you warm, we've got recycled milk cartons in the form of fleece. There's your recycled milk cartons that you can put on and stay warm.
It
Says the
Howland Center for Presidential Studies.
That's right.
And for future presidents.
Yeah.
Male and female.
Yes.
That's
And
right.
I'm so happy.
hear that,
I don't
Sarah?
want- I'm an independent. I don't take sides, and I'm so happy to see this new fellow, Obama, in the White House. I think if we get together with him and all the people that are thinking about this country first and get out of Iraq, where we shouldn't have been in the first place, then we'll be doing some things for this country that we should have been doing a long time ago. Okay.
Very good.
Sorry.
You can get as hyped up as you want. I think you're speaking to a sympathetic audience. In fact, I should mention, where is Selma? Selma Tucker, would you please stand up? I want to announce something. Selma is one of 4 Grand Valley students who has just won a scholarship to go to Washington, D.C. He will be there for the inauguration of President Obama. And you get to stay, I think, 10 days. That's right.
Wow.
So, do you need anybody to go and kind of help carry luggage? Anybody else have a similar announcement about the new inauguration or the presidency or anything? Okay, well that's really a market
Did
decision.
everybody watch it last night? He gave the best talk that I ever heard a future president give, and I'm sure he'll do the same when he's president, that I ever heard in my life since I've been listening to presidents talk. He did an absolutely fabulous job, and I'm going to do everything I can to help, and I'm sure that a lot of people will, because he's energetic and he's smart and he's intelligent and he's also common sense. Common sense. If you have common sense, you got everything.
You did.
Okay.
Very good. Well, thank you so much.